On a hot Sunday afternoon in Lekki, a man with no Bible, no prayer life, and no shame opened a church. His name was Tamba. People would later know him as Prophet Veta, the man of fire. But back then, he was just a 29-year-old school dropout with fast fingers and faster lies. He had no anointing, but he had a phone, Wi-Fi, and a dream to escape poverty. It all started one night when Tamba watched a viral video of a preacher shaking a woman on stage. The woman screamed. The crowd roared. The camera zoomed in. "Spiritual husband!" the preacher shouted, spraying water everywhere. Tamba paused the video, leaned back on his mattress and smiled. "This one go work." He went outside the next morning and borrowed a white kaftan from his neighbor, an old plastic chair from a roadside tailor, and a speaker from a friend who worked at weddings. By Friday, a banner was up near the junction. Deliverance Weekend. Spirit Liberation House of Fire. Come and be free from all demonic problems. Led by Prophet Veta, the seer of smoke and thunder. His first miracle. He hired a girl from a TikTok group chat to act possessed. That Sunday, under a mango tree beside a half-finished plaza, Prophet Veta shouted, "Come out, you wicked demon!" and shook the girl so hard, she rolled on the floor like she was frying in oil. The small crowd gasped. One woman dropped her bag. Another screamed, "Jesus!" Someone recorded it. And by nightfall, the video had over 20,000 views on Instagram. That was how it began. Within weeks, Prophet Veta became a social media sensation. People loved his drama. His torn voice, his head shakes, the visions he called out like lottery numbers. "Madam in blue. Yes, you. Your womb has been under attack since 2018. He didn't know that. He guessed it. But the woman cried, "Yes, Prophet, it's true." He would then press his palms to her stomach and shout, "Fire!" Boom, another follower gained. He created tiered prayer packages. A silver deliverance. 5,000 Nigerian nairas. A gold deliverance. 15,000 Nigerian nairas. A diamond oil session. 50,000 Nigerian nairas. Includes one bottle of olive oil from the supermarket, rebranded with a sticker that said, "Anointed in Jerusalem." One of his biggest catches was Lady Tina, a rich, lonely widow who had 3 failed marriages and a fear of dying single. Veta told her, "Your destiny husband is under marine arrest." She gasped. "I saw him in a cage underwater. But I can help. I will fast for 14 days. Lady Tina cried on the spot and gave him 7 million Nigerian nairas. She even bought him a car to help with night prayers. But Veta never fasted. He bought designer perfume and used the air conditioner all day. "Thunder, fire, hunger," he muttered as he ate fried rice in his robe. Behind closed doors, Veta's church became a place of secret sin. He invited young women for night vigils, promising to lay holy hands on them to remove the spirit of delay. But his hands were not holy, and his lips told lies. He even kept small cameras in the room to secretly record some sessions and use them to threaten silence. The crowd outside only saw the man in white shouting fire. They didn't know he was dancing with darkness. His personal assistant Siko once asked, "Olga, are you not afraid? One day, you go jam person way carry real spirit." Veta laughed hard. "My guy, I carry internet. That's the real spirit now." He didn't know someone was already watching him. Someone who had seen hundreds of fake prophets rise and fall. One Sunday, just before service began, a strange woman arrived. She wore a brown wrapper, rubber slippers, and a scarf tied like she came from the village. People tried to block her at the gate. "No space again, Mama," the usher said. But she only smiled and replied softly, "I didn't come to sit. I came to see him." Veta from inside peeped and frowned. "Who be this one again?" The woman walked past everyone and sat on the bare floor at the front. When Veta came out, sweating with fake energy, he felt something cold crawl up his spine. Their eyes met. She didn't blink. He cleared his throat. "Mama, welcome. What do you want God to do for you? She smiled again. My leg is paining me. Just touch it, prophet. He stretched his hand casually, trying to act powerful. But when he placed his palm on her leg, a sudden chill hit his bones. His throat dried up. His head became heavy. His eyes began to shake. The woman leaned forward and whispered just loud enough for him to hear. You can lie to them, but not to me. You have 7 days. Then she stood up and walked out. No scream, no fall, no crowd excitement, just silence, and a mark left on his spirit. That night, Prophet Veda couldn't sleep. He tossed, he turned. He heard whispers in his fan. He saw shadows moving behind his curtains. At 2:14 a.m., his mirror cracked without touch. He screamed and fell from his bed. From then on, his voice began to shake during services. His hands trembled during deliverance. The crowds noticed. Even the actors he paid stopped coming. Siko, his assistant, quit suddenly. And on the 7th day, he walked to the roadside and stood in silence with a cardboard sign. I am a fake prophet. I lied. I stole. I hurt people. I'm sorry. Cars passed. Phones came out. Videos rolled. People gathered. For 6 days, Prophet Veta tried to act normal, but he was no longer the same man. He still wore his white robe. He still held the microphone and shouted, Holy Ghost fire! But every time he opened his mouth, it felt like something was choking him from inside. He saw Mama Gogo's face in every corner. In his dreams, in the church fans, in the oil bottles, her eyes followed him. The 7th night arrived. Prophet Veda didn't sleep. He walked around his bedroom like a prisoner. The air was hot, but he kept shivering. His anointed oil smelled like blood. His phone refused to charge. Even the cockroach on the wall stared at him like it knew everything. Then it happened. At 3:33 a.m., a soft knock came at his window. 3 knocks. His building had no balcony. He lived on the 3rd floor. But someone or something was knocking. Veta jumped up, grabbed his oil bottle and screamed, I command fire! But no flame came. Only silence. Then the glass of his window cracked from the center like a spider's web. He dropped the oil and fell to his knees. By morning, Prophet Veta knew he couldn't continue. He walked out of his apartment in slippers and stained white clothes, carrying a cardboard sign he had written with charcoal. I am a fake prophet. He stood in front of the same plaza where his church once shook with applause. Now the crowd was quiet. Some laughed. Some cried. Phones came out. People shouted. Na lie. Is this drama again? What's happening? Veta dropped to his knees and began to talk. Tears ran down his face. I started this church with nothing but lies, he said. I paid people to act possessed. I sold regular oil for 50,000. I never fasted. I never prayed. I slept with women. I tricked them. The crowd gasped. He continued, voice shaking. Lady Tina gave me 7 million to remove a spirit I made up. I used it to buy perfume and ice cream. I never saw any demon. People murmured louder. 2 women fainted. A man shouted, So my sister died thinking she wasn't healed? Another woman threw her shoe at him. Children stared like watching a broken TV. Then, from inside the crowd, Lady Tina appeared. She was wearing a long black dress. Her earrings shook. Her eyes were red and wide. Is it true? She asked. Veda didn't look up. He just nodded slowly. She walked up to him and whispered, I gave you my hope, Veta. I gave you everything. He opened his mouth to speak, but his voice failed. Lady Tina took off her gold necklace and dropped it at his feet. Not in kindness, but like throwing away a chain she once wore with pride. She turned and walked away. The police came, but no one laid a hand on him. There was nothing left to arrest. No crowd. No ministry. No power. Veta stayed on his knees till evening. When the sun went down and the people had gone, Mama Gogo returned. He didn't see her walk up. She just appeared beside him. She wore the same wrapper, same slippers, same calm eyes. He looked up, shaking. She said nothing at first. Then finally she whispered, "Good. Now your real work begins." Then she walked away into the dark street like a shadow melting into the night. For 2 weeks, Prophet Veta didn't return to his house. He slept in a corner behind a closed-down boutique, covered with old curtains. He ate from food stands and used public bathrooms. Each time someone tried to give him money, he said, "No, not yet." He wanted to feel empty first. He wanted to feel clean. One afternoon, a little boy approached him with bread. The boy asked, "Uncle, why were you crying on Instagram?" Veta smiled sadly. "Because I was living a lie." The boy blinked. "What's your name?" He paused for a long time, then said, "Just call me Tomba." For the first time in years, he used his real name. It felt like washing his face after a long, dirty dream. A week later, Tomba found an old carpenter's shop with a for sale sign. He used the last money in his bank account, Nigerian naira for 150, to rent the space for 1 month. He picked up a hammer. He picked up sandpaper. He watched YouTube videos on how to smooth wood. And slowly, his hands began to build. People who passed by looked through the open window. Some whispered, "Is that not the prophet?" Others said, "He's doing penance." Some laughed. Some nodded. But Tomba didn't mind. He just worked. The walls of his shop were bare, but he wrote a sentence in chalk above the door. "I once built lies with my mouth. Now I build truth with my hands." That was all he needed. No banner. No choir. No crowd. Just wood. And peace. But deep down, Tomba knew his story wasn't just his. He had touched the lives of hundreds, maybe thousands, with his lies. Now he hoped his silence would also teach something. That shame can be holy. That confession is not weakness. That sometimes the greatest miracle isn't healing the sick. It's healing yourself. 1 year had passed. The banner that once screamed, "Deliverance Fire Night," was gone. Now, on that same street in Lekki, a wooden sign hung quietly above a small shop. Tomba's Carpentry. Clean hands, clean work. Inside, the man who used to call himself Prophet Veta was sanding a table. No robe. No microphone. No drama. Just a plain brown shirt, dusty trousers, and hands strong from shaping wood. Tomba no longer shouted, "Fire." Now he only said, "Measure twice, cut once." His shop was small but neat. A framed quote hung on the wall. "I was once lost in fake visions. Now I see clearly." People from the neighborhood started to come, not for miracles but for real work. Old chairs, broken stools, kitchens needing shelves. He fixed them all. And he never overcharged. Not even once. Some customers didn't recognize him. But some did. One woman whispered, "Isn't that the prophet who confessed?" Another said, "He scammed people, but now look at him." Others shook their heads. "He's pretending. Wolves don't become sheep." Tomba heard it all. But he didn't explain. He just kept working. One afternoon, as Tomba closed up his shop, a familiar voice spoke from the doorway. "Your hands are finally steady." He turned quickly. It was Mama Gogo. Same wrapper. Same slippers. Same calm eyes. But this time she was smiling. He looked down in shame. "Mama, I was a fraud." "Yes," she replied. "But now you are a tool in the right hands." He blinked. "God still wants me." She walked into the shop slowly, touching the smooth wood of a bench. "You think God only uses perfect people. Even broken chairs have purpose once they're mended." Tomba looked away, tears rising in his eyes. Mama Gogo sat on the bench he built. "It's strong," she said. "It can carry weight." Tomba nodded, understanding her meaning. She stood up to leave but paused. "Not everyone will forgive you," she said softly. "But if your hands stay clean, and your heart stays low, heaven will smile." Then, like before, she vanished into the street crowd without a goodbye. That night, Tomba sat outside his shop and looked up at the stars. He remembered the lies, the crowds, the women he hurt, and the money he wasted. He remembered his first miracle, that was never real. He remembered Lady Tina. He picked up his phone and typed a message he had been too scared to send for months. I was a thief. You trusted me, and I betrayed that trust. I don't deserve forgiveness, but I hope you find peace. If you ever need furniture, I owe you free work for life. Tomba. He hit send. And put the phone down. Weeks later, a car stopped outside the shop. Lady Tina stepped out. She wore simple clothes, no makeup, and held a small stool in her hand. I need this leg fixed, she said without emotion. Tomba nodded. 2 days. Free, of course. She raised an eyebrow. Charge me. I came to buy wood, not pity. He smiled faintly. Yes, Ma. She walked inside and sat. He worked quietly. She watched. After a while she said, You look different. I feel different, he replied. She nodded slowly. I'll tell the others. Some may come for apology. Some may not. But, you're trying. That was all. But to Tomba it felt like gold. As the weeks passed, more people came. Some brought old furniture. Some brought old wounds. One woman said, You ruined my sister's life. He said, I know. She said, She died angry. He replied, I die a little every day for it. She didn't forgive him. But she didn't hit him either. That was enough for now. On his birthday, he made himself a bench with carved letters on it. The carpenter who used to be God. It wasn't for pride. It was a reminder that men can fall deep and still rise again. Not to the stage, but to truth. One day, a young man passed by the shop and said, Uncle, I want to be a prophet like you before. Tomba wiped sweat from his neck and replied, That was a lie. A sweet lie. Be something true. The boy asked, Like what? Tomba handed him a small piece of wood. Start with this. Learn to shape it. Learn to wait. The boy nodded and ran off smiling. At night, Tomba would sometimes dream of fire again. But now the fire did not burn. It warmed. Didn't scream. It whispered. And sometimes in the dream, Mama Gogo would sit beside him and say, Now you understand the real altar. In a city full of noise, false prophets, and flashing miracles, there stood one quiet carpentry shop with no drum, no speaker, and no poster. Only a man who once faked the voice of God, but now listened. If you have not subscribed to my channel, you might not hear my voice again, but if you are, then you are growing every day. Check my page for more interesting stories. Thanks for watching.